But yes, it was a tough battle. Race start, here we go. Clean between Webster and Mackenzie as they go down to turn 1. Always a bit hairy, these tight left and right-handers, but they look keen to get through cleanly.
It looks like a nice tidy start there. So the 47 of Webster hangs on to the lead after starting from pole position. Mackenzie now is coming under fire from Musgrave up the inside, it looks like. So that's a very flying start there from the number 34. We can just see up the inside there going into turn 3. And they're still running side by side coming through turn 4. But we're starting to see a train. So a brilliant, clean start from the 21 car field. There is the 92 of Mernjavec on screen, coming through the sweeping left-hander. And there's Nielsen just behind there in the number 86 as well. Now, obviously, the start sequence for Hyundai Excel, what is the quickest way to get one of these off the line, Lisa? Are you trying to give it as much power as possible and dump in the clutch, or is it more of a careful process trying to walk one of these things off the line?
It depends who you are, really. Some people like to hold the handbrake off, obviously. As we hear Jeff's how to spin car number 30. Not sure if that was done by himself or contact with another car, but he's managed to get going and attach himself to the back of the pack.
Yeah, no harm, no foul there. The Superior Foods Excel rotating, switching ends, and drops him to the back of the field, unfortunately. It rages on at the head of the field here, so the number 85 of Mackenzie coming under fire now from the 34 of Musgrave. So the championship leader puts one on Mackenzie. He closes the door on the number 92 of Mernjavec though, so great move up the inside there from Musgrave as he continues his wonderful season in 2024, collecting as much points as he possibly can. And obviously was the leader coming into this round. Complete brake lock up there for the 85. So Mackenzie, after all of that work, spears off at turn 1 and has to negotiate his way carefully through the off-field there. Very lucky not to get too much air as well. It's very bumpy, so they really have to wash off as much speed as they possibly can so that they don't cause further damage.
I'm keen to see him here. Car 68, Wayne Milburn, has moved up to 13th. I was mentioning before, he was battling at the front with the top 2, but had a mechanical issue in yesterday's race, so he had to start from the back. So keen to see him move up the field.
So how many laps does it take to get one of these, get an XL tyre sort of in operational? There's Nielsen up the inside there, but are they sort of in their optimal window already in terms of tyre temperature, or is it a couple of laps before we sort of see that?
We've seen the new Dunlop control tyre come in this year, and speaking to a few competitors, majority of the front runners are running on the Dunlops, but a few of the back runners will still be running on the Federal tyres. I think the Dunlops, they come up to speed quite quickly. But I'm finding that their best life is later on in their lifespan.
Obviously, we had Federal as was the control tyre for many seasons before Federal actually, unfortunately, no longer producing the tyre that was chosen by the category to use nationally. So the switch to Dunlop, great decision by organisers, and obviously it's a bit of a slow process because we still have some Federals out there in the wild. So you might as well use them if you've got it. This is grassroots motorsport after all, so everyone's driving and racing to a budget. So if you've got a set of tyres in the back of the garage, why not utilise them instead of going out and purchasing a new set of Dunlops? But if you really want to go out there and set the Hollywood numbers like the Websters and the Musgraves of the world, you'd probably be looking at a set of Dunlops, as Lisa touched on. Very versatile are these Hyundai Excels. Not only are they very well suited to these sprint race formats, as we can see a great battle here between the 31 of Featherstone, and it looks like Carroll is vying in there as well in the number 136, having a good look around the outside, but can't get by this time around. But very suited to these sprint race formats, as we see plenty of action as we saw in yesterday's races. Here comes Carroll actually up the inside of Featherstone, so that galvanises that position. A very clean move up the inside going into turn 3. But XLs can also race well in an endurance level as well. So I think there's a couple of endurance races coming up later on this year, which Lisa's rubbing her hands with glee at the moment, because she'll be stepping back behind the wheel for an endurance event in South Australia coming up in just a few months' time.
Just to give a little bit of a plug, they've got a good one coming up in SA, and also the David Lowe Memorial, which actually is run here at Winton, which will be late November, December. A great club event run by the Victorian Excel Association. As we see the 127 having a look up the inside, decided against it, but gets a good run out the corner. Will be on the outside coming into the next corner.
A pair of blue XLs. It's Barton having a go at Outram. So Outram's got the inside line here in the 109 car through turn 10. It's more than 90 degrees. It's a very tricky corner to get right here, but it does bring Shoya into the battle as well. So the number 35 coming along for the ride up the short straight, and the 127 of Barton up the inside with that move at turn 10. And then we've got Shoya through as well in the racing image, supported 35 Hyundai XL. And we've also got Featherstone and Carroll. That battle's still continuing to rage on, vying in the background there as well. Here's the 994 on the screen. So this is Sarah having a great battle with the number 80 of Simpson as well. So they've actually switched positions coming into turns 1 and 2. And the 994 of Sarah is relegated back into position 7. So this is the battle for P6 on track. And no matter where you look in Hyundai Excel Racing, there's always a battle. But at the head of the field, I should say, Webster is doing a splendid job in these cool conditions. We will see more pace in the Winton Motor Raceway in the morning hours of the day. But as the track heats up with the sun coming out throughout the day, the track evolves quite a lot, so you can lose quite a lot of pace. So the Masters will be loving these conditions. They'll be feeling like they're setting Ayrton Senna qualifying laps after lap. Feeling like they're absolutely on the pace. Pretty close here though. The number 49 having a look up the inside of the 85. So that's Clark on Mackenzie. Mackenzie is actually recovering after that off at turn 1 on lap 3. So still trying to charge back through the field, but we do anticipate that car will continue to progress. Meanwhile, as Lisa pointed out, Milburn down in position 14, continuing to make up positions after starting effectively the back of the grid along with Veneer as well. So great battle on screen here, Lisa. This is the 49 of Clark still with Narkwitz, I believe. Bit of a lock break there, as is customary with these cars. Oh, and
is that Vernier who's gone off there in the 44? It is. He was trying to run around the outside there and got a little bit tangled up. He's made it back onto the track and now to recover. Hopefully not going to lose another position.
So obviously the rear is along for the ride with these cars. They're set up so that the front tyres not only do the steering, but they do the driving. And they are balanced deliberately so that the front tyres do a balance of the work and the rears are along for the ride. Rules around tyres as well. Is it fairly open with Hyundai XLs? Are you limited to one set per weekend, or is it sort of open slather? Or is it a case where you're better off rotating the rears to the front, vice versa? What's the best approach for these XLs?
There's no tyre limit as such. Use as many as you want. As I was saying, we're finding that the Dunlops are better later in their life. A lot of competitors will buff their tyres as well to get a bit more lifespan out of them. People might... Oh, we've had a bit of a tyre screw under brakes there. Everyone's still on track, but they might rotate from front to rear, but they try and get a few rounds out of the Dunlops there. They're good sturdy tyres.
And for you, Lisa, what drew you to Hyundai XL Racing? Was it the affordability? Was it the approachability? What drew you to this series?
I reckon the affordability has to be number one. You can still build one of these cars in your back shed if you've got the talent and the skill to do so. But the community, as I said, there's probably over 400 logbook cars around the country, so there's an opportunity to get involved and people you meet. It's a great little series.
There's 400 cars, it's a huge number. Here on screen now, the 80 of Simpson, still having a great battle with the 994 of Sarah. This is the battle for position 6, and you can see at the top of the screen, Seymour has a couple of car lengths gap over this ensuing battle, but they're keeping it nice and tidy. There is a slipstream effect with these cars still, even around a tight, confined layout of Winton Motor Raceway, so it really is in their best interest to follow the car and reduce that drag coefficient as much as possible. But when it comes time to trying to get past a fellow XL, as we saw yesterday in the trophy race, you can park an XL basically anywhere you want on the racing line around the Winton Motor Raceway and make it extremely difficult for the following driver to make their way past. And Tabitha Ambrose, for example, was finding pace and finding places in places we haven't seen so many times before, especially around this particular part of the circuit, around the old gum tree at turn 8. She was able to pull off some master moves around the outside, which set her up on the inside going into turn 9 right here. And there was a brilliant move that we saw yesterday. Nielsen here on screen. This is the battle for position 3, so he's in hot pursuit of Mernjavac, who's currently sitting in 3rd in the number 92. Very evenly matched for pace at the moment. If not, Nielsen does have a slight advantage up his sleeve. There will be 2 laps to go once they come down the main straight this time around of this 8-lap affair. But as always with Hyundai Excel Racing, it does seem to go extremely quickly given the amount of action that is going on. Mind you, this is a very clean race this morning for the Masters. A little bit more reserved than the trophy guys and girls, but still we do see plenty of action throughout Hyundai Excel Racing, no matter where you're watching at any part of Australia.
We see Webster has got a 2-second lead now over Musgrave. He's just been able to have some clean air and drive away from Musgrave, and in sense, Musgrave has a 3-second lead over this battle that we're watching on screen at the moment.
So Hyundai Spare Parts Dealers Australia-wide would have been very happy when this series came onto the scene, because I dare say there's probably a lot of XLs now that have become hot demand. As soon as one pops up in a spare car lot anywhere around Australia, they're quickly wrapped up. This battle here, though, is still the number 92 of Mernjavac. Nielsen having a look up the inside, but can't get through turn 7. Has a look around the outside of turn 8. But is looming. He's been making more and more pace in the brakes and more excel. He's now fancying his chances at turn 9, giving each other plenty of room, and it's not too bad. You don't have to hug the apex as much around that corner. There's quite a lot of positive camber, so you can afford to run it wide. The trade-off of travelling the distance a little bit further than missing the apex is you get a little bit more mid-corner speed. So Nielsen, we do anticipate, will be mounting another move or another attempt to try and get past, as it looks like he's ranging in. He's got the outside line on offer because Mernjavac is on the inside, slamming the door shut. It's extremely close as they come through turn 11 and round turn 12 once again. So this is the penultimate lap of the race, Lisa. Drivers won't be feeling tired, they'll be feeling fresh, but they'll be feeling energised. Is there too much change in terms of overall pace in a Hyundai Excel from the start of a race versus the end of the race? Obviously, fuel loads are slightly different. Tyres are warm and nice and hot. Is there too much pace deficit from the start versus end versus the start?
Comes down a lot to tyre pressures as well. A lot of people like to start theirs really low with the Dunlops, and others like to start them high, so the car will be strong at either end of the race as well. It might take people, obviously they're not professional drivers, a lap or two to come into gear, but aside from that, yeah, tyre pressures, little contact patch makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Mernjavac still defending extremely well. Here comes another potential move, covers the inside line, so he learnt. Took a lesson from the last lap where to park that XL. Covers the inside line as we expect. Coming into turn 8, the Jackpot Racing 92 XL. Doesn't that car look absolutely splendid? It is beautifully wrapped, as do all of the Hyundai XLs across Australia. There's a lot of time and a lot of care from the owners and the competitors to make sure that they look in absolute tip-top condition. Hyundai XLs did not look this good in showroom condition back in the late 90s, so they look absolutely fantastic out there. Coming up the short back straight, or one of the longer straights I should say, here at the Winton Motor Raceway. But here is the race leader. It is Daniel Webster in the number 47. Carefully makes his way through turn 12, but it has been an absolute master of a race. He takes out race 2 of the Victorian XL Series Masters here at Winton Motor Raceway. Fantastic effort there from Webster. Musgrave, meanwhile, home in second position, taking crucial points as he continues to lead the championship in 2024. On screen now is Narkowitz. Sorry, Lisa. So Narkowitz on screen there, coming under fire from the 127 of Barton, who's been one of the stars in this race, making steady ground. But it can't quite get across the line there. Actually, Milburn makes up a few positions on that last lap as well. So Milburn up into position 10, as Lisa anticipated. He was going to be one of the people to look out for from the rear of the grid up to position 10. So he'll be looking forward to the next race to continue to press forward and make as much pace as possible. And it looks like most of the field has made their way past the checkered flag. So that was race 2 of the Excel Masters. We've got 2 more Excel Masters races coming up later on today. Here comes Jeff's in that Superior Foods Excel. And after that spin at turn 8, was able to get the Excel back onto the road, pointing in the right direction and able to finish the race. So unfortunate, but there is 2 more races, 2 more opportunities for the drivers to reset and have another crack at the racing action. So at 10:45 or quarter to 11, we've got race 3 of the Excel Masters. We've got heaps of Excels here this weekend. So many, in fact, have been split. Trophy versus Masters. These are the older class. No disrespect to all of the competitors. Your age just literally makes you a bit older and forces you into this class, but nonetheless, the racing is just as spirited as they get underway. Webster with a great start there at the number 47, along side by side, rubbing panels with Musgrave as they head into turn 1. The brakes and more car tucks back in behind. Battle Rage is on behind as well. It's Mergerback coming under fire from Nielsen, who's making up 1 position off the start line there, but the number 90 is coming along of Seymour for the battle in the Australian Bull Products Hyundai Excel. That's the silver car. You can see just behind a little bit of contact between Nielsen and Mergerback as they come through turn 4 there, and the Equipment Link car also featuring and vying into the battle for position 3. This is a great start from the Excel Masters, coming through the sweeping long-hander at turn 6. Sorry, at turn 5, turn 6, and then the tight right-hander at turn 7. Great start there, Lisa.
Fantastic start there, and we see the front 2, Webster and Musgrave, got away from this pack. Seymour leading the next little battle pack, but a little bit of a bottleneck behind him as the others try force their way through.
So it's the Dunlop tyres and the Federal tyres as well. There's a mix of tyres underneath or fitted to these Hyundai Excels that are currently out there and competing. The 85 now having a look around the outside. So that's Mackenzie, as we predicted, would be making a strong start, trying to press on, make up as much ground as possible early on in this race. But once again, the Masters has shown exactly how it's done. We saw a great race earlier with the trophy class as well. Up the inside, deep under brakes, the 42 of Jeff's. That plain yellow XL jumps up a position, coming around turn 12 now to commence the second lap of the race. It's not a lot of time between sessions relatively for these teams and drivers to get their cars ready, given it's trying to cram in 3 races into a single day. But how much work really needs to go into these XLs between races to make sure that they're race ready?
A lot of people will do a wheel alignment, sort of string setup. It's amazing that you see the same string setup across categories from grassroots to high-level national stuff. And from there, check tyre pressures, add some fuel, and that should be enough to get going.
It's a relatively low maintenance compared to something like an open wheeler Formula Ford. Off the track there, it's a bit of a mess. There's Jeff's vying in there in the green car. I guess I dare say that was evasive action. And we'll try and get a better indication of that on. Oh no, that's the 49 car of Clark into the pit lane. And they're going to peel off into the paddock. So that is race over for the number 49 there. So that's unfortunate for Clark. Hopefully they can assess the car and get it hopefully back out for the next race later on this afternoon. This is the battle for the lead. Webster versus Musgrave. Webster in the number 47 entry, currently leading the way, and Musgrave has made a huge amount of ground so far in the past few races to be bang on exactly where he needs to be. Oh no, sorry, he was P2 in the last race, but he's exactly where he needs to be. He's in the box seat to try and take away the lead and add more points to his championship tally. On screen now, Nielsen versus Mergerback. The 92 is in hot pursuit of Nielsen ahead of him. Mergerback's got a 5-second penalty according to our timing screen. We dare say that is for a start line infringement. Big hats off to the officials this weekend who have been working extremely hard and have an eagle eye for picking up these sorts of little infringements. So they've been keeping super busy for pretty much all races. Being able to pick up all of these little infringements, but unfortunately it's a 5-second penalty over the top of Mergerback. So in corrected order, once they apply the penalty, that'll drop him down the field ever so slightly, given the fact that it is a tightly compacted field. And this is a great example that no matter where you look in Hyundai Excel Racing, there is a battle unfolding. Seymour is leading this train of cars in that silver number 90 XL. And just behind him, it looks like the car of Milburn has made up a position since crossing the control line. So that's McKenzie in the number 85 car there in hot pursuit, setting up a potential move up the inside, coming into turn 7, but it is a little bit hard. Braking distances in Hyundai Excels, I dare say, is pretty short because you're trying to maximise mid-corner speed due to the not lack of power, but less power compared to other race cars. So just how crucial is the braking distance in Excels, trying to minimise wiping off that speed, Lisa?
Especially when you're going for an overtake, you obviously try to push an extra 10 to 20 metres in the braking zone and try to get the undercut, as we see McKenzie here making a move on Seymour. Seymour was keeping his car really wide, trying to hold him back, but now McKenzie might be able to latch onto the battle ahead.
Indeed, we hope he presses on. So how much space has he got to make up? He's got about 3.5 seconds gap between himself and the next train of cars. The Equipment Link Australia, Hyundai Excel, Lanatech on the windscreen as well, proudly supporting Hyundai Excel Racing in Victoria. And we have to say a big thank you to all of the commercial partners who align themselves with Grassroots Motorsport and help the competitors get out there and help support Grassroots Motorsport, because you can see a healthy crowd here this weekend as part of round 3 of the VMRC, Victorian Motor Racing Championship. And it's a big thanks to all the attendees who have come out this weekend. If you're watching from home and you're in the area and you thinking about coming out to Winton Motor Raceway to enjoy some racing action, we highly encourage you to do so. You should head to the website and purchase a ticket online. If you are interstate or you're unable to come up to Winton, please stay exactly where you are. Stay tuning into the Blendline TV coverage. It's one of the best seats in the house, if not the best seat. We've got all the angles covered. Beautiful pictures being brought to you by the hardworking Blendline team behind the scenes. Here's Sarah and the number 994. Very tidy, very clear. Obviously, the cars are looking very tidy out there. They're not too animated when we're observing them mid-corner, but do you find that there's a lot more speed when you are driving on the ragged edge with the Hyundai Excel, or is it cool, calm and collected that is the key?
You'll find the fast drivers will have more aggressive setup for sure, whether that be through camber or how much pitch in the car from front to rear. You definitely see they like the car to step out a little bit and it gives a bit more turn.
Oh no, that's Jeff's. Jeff's in the number 30 Superior Food Services car. Had a spin in the race earlier and did some great work before to take evasive action to avoid some cars that were having a minor off at turn 3. But now it looks like the car has retired. So that is the number 30 out of the race at this stage. Now, race control will be having a look at that. We can see out the window that the crews are actually already attending to it. But the race is still green flag. And Nielsen presses on here in the number 86. So he's still holding down position 3. He's done a 1 minute 43.5. That compares to a 1 minute 43.7 on the last lap of Merjavac, who's in hot pursuit, trying to find any way he possibly can to get past. Now it's 5 seconds between this pair, battling for position 3 between Webster and Musgrave. But if we look between Merjavac and McKenzie, who's currently sitting in position 5, McKenzie is 5 seconds adrift of Merjavac. So with that 5-second penalty at the moment, the number 92 is still going to hold on to position 4 at the moment on corrected order. But a lot can still unfold, given that we are on lap 5 of 8. Still a long way to go in this race. So there's Nielsen. A lot of consideration, a lot of effort goes into wrapping these cars and making them look representative of their commercial partners and give some love back to the people that are supporting their racing. Obviously, XLs didn't come out of the showroom looking like this, and they are looking absolutely beautiful. They also sound really good too. 1.5 litre engine underneath the hood. It's a pretty robust engine. There's not too much that needs to go into converting it from a road-going engine into a race car engine, doesn't it, Lisa?
No, that's right. It's still one of those things you can do in your back garage if you've got the skills and capability to do it. A lot of people go get their motor rebuilt just for health and longevity of its life. But it's still something you can join the category and do yourself.
I noticed years ago that the regulations allow for both a single overhead cam and a double overhead cam, but obviously the double overhead cam engine is the preferred option amongst competitors.
Yes, it is, and actually the single head motor has been removed now from a set of regulations. Not sure exactly why, but now just focusing on the double overhead cam.
and a very robust unit indeed. It's great to see so many XLs out there. Perfect platform for drivers coming out of go-karts and into circuit racing. Learn about suspension setup, learn how to use a clutch, learn how to shift gears with a H-pattern gearbox. You can stir the pot if you really want to, as we saw looking over the shoulder of the Richard White NASCAR before. Going down from 4th gear to 2nd, you can just skip a bunch of gates, throw it into a gear and learn to contend with it. But it's also a great platform to get these young drivers or gentlemen drivers as well. A couple of squeaks and brakes, rears locked, as we come to expect with Hyundai XLs. But for young drivers especially coming into Hyundai XLs, it's a perfect platform to learn how to compose yourself and learn how to be a race driver. Up the inside there, the 68 of Milburn, having a good look at Simpson there, coming through turn 9, but the opportunity didn't quite present itself for a move there. So that's the battle for position 7, with Seymour just ahead in position 6. So this is a great battle for the middle of the top 10. Webster is still leading the way, but the gap has trimmed down to 0.2 of a second between the leading duo. So Musgrave very much on form in season 2024, and is showing us exactly how handy he is, no matter what situation it is, especially here at round 3 of the VMRC at Winton Motor Raceway.
As they head down the front straight here, Milburn all over the back and Simpson all over the back with Seymour. He has going for a dive there on the inside, decides better of it. There are more passing opportunities coming up towards turn 3. We can have another look.
That was a very wide moment there for Seymour in the number 90. If you haven't seen up close, and up the inside there, the 68 of Milburn. So that was a great opportunistic move. He set that up from the main straight, set it up through the chicane going into turns 1 and 2. Had the best seat in the house to see Seymour run wide there. And I was just going to say, if you haven't seen the ripple strips on the left-hand side of turn 2 as you exit, it's extremely rough, and the way that they run these cars over, pretty much undeterred, it'll knock the fillings out of your teeth. And if you're in the trophy class, it'll probably knock the retainer out because you're a lot younger and you've probably got some dental work going on, given that you are a teenager more than likely. But that was a hairy moment there for Seymour. Did extremely well to gather it up there, and that's where we saw the potential, or the provisional qualifying pole sitter yesterday in the BMW run wide into the tyre wall during the top 10 shootout. Here's a replay of it. Seymour on the left-hand side, runs extremely wide, gets the car up on 2 wheels. I said yesterday that Hyundai XLs are famously known for running better on 4 wheels than 2. So that was a bit of a hair-raising moment for him to get that car resettled, regain his composure, running it over a small jump. So that was a stopping time there. So here comes Nielsen onto the main straight, still has Mernjavac all over the back of him, pulls out of the slipstream. They're going to draw side by side as they come towards turn 1. The 92 has the right hand side, the driver's line, but the 86 has the inside line. But Mernjavac takes a little bit of pace out of it. He's going to maximise his corner exit as they come up to turn 3. Nielsen covers off the line, forces the 92 to look around the outside, but he can't quite get it. He's out in the grey there, so off the racing line. They call it the grey. It's where all the dirt and the marbles are. And naturally, on the racing line, it's a lot cleaner, and that's where you find a lot more pace. We should point out this is the last lap of the race as well as we pick up the leaders.
Very close here between Webster and Musgrave, a lot closer than what we've seen in previous races. Only a few corners left on this penultimate lap for Musgrave to make a move on Webster.
Look at him, he's absolutely shadowing. He's saying, you do that, I'll do it as well. He's putting his car exactly where he needs to. And it's up to Webster to try and make that XL as wide as possible. He can park it wherever he wants. He needs to leave a car's width between the car and the track limits. But here comes Musgrave. He's got a bit of a run coming out of turn 10. It is an awkward corner. He's got the driver's line already, but the inside line's already been covered off by Webster. But Musgrave wants it. But how hard does he want it? He's going to stick it up the inside coming into turn 12. It's going to be his last opportunity. Can he out-drag him with a beautiful corner exit? They both absolutely nail it. Webster uses as much track as possible over the rumble strip, but he's going to hang on. He's going to take the checkered flag. Webster wins race 3 from Musgrave. That was an excellent race between those two.
It sure was. Less than 300th of a second between them, and as we see on the screen here, Seymour coming around the final corner ahead of Milburn, holding on there for 6th position.
So Nielsen across the line, as you say, Mernjavac home in P4. Here comes Mackenzie, charging up to position 5. Great race there from the number 85. Seymour after that hair-raising moment at turn 2 in the number 90, home in position 6 ahead of Milburn, Venia and Simpson in P9. Sarah rounding out the top 10. Once again, a masterclass from the Masters, a fantastic Victorian Excel Series race. The third race for this particular class for the weekend, and we have another one coming up later on this afternoon, 20 minutes past 2 or 2:20 if you are looking at a phone watch, as most of us do these days. The Excel Masters will be back out for their 4th and final race of the weekend, which will be 8 laps in duration.
Okay, so we've seen the green flag signal. 5-second board has been displayed to the drivers. Anthony will turn the lights on, and then a random number of seconds later, he will turn them off. And away we go. Last support action of VMRC, round 3.
Thank you, Dave Stillwell, down there in the starter's box. Fantastic insights. And indeed, we are underway for the final support race for the weekend as we build up towards the Pitcher Partners Winton 300. Fantastic start there from Musgrave, who takes the 34 with a lightning start off the line to lead the way from Webster. Side-by-side action here with the number 90 of Seymour coming under fire from Milburn, I believe it is, coming up to turn 3, extremely tight. This is, of course, the 4th and final race for the Victorian Excel Series Masters category. Joined alongside by Phil Memory once again. Plenty of action, as always, in the Victorian Excel Series, Phil.
Absolutely brilliant. And look at the pictures coming to us through Blendline TV. That work at the start line was absolutely fantastic. From behind the gridded wire, almost with the trickery of Blendline, made that wire disappear. That was brilliant stuff.
Absolutely, and as Dave touched on, if you do want to get up close and have that view yourself, we encourage you to go to the AASA website and follow all the links on the website to find out more information about how you yourself watching from home can join a car club and eventually find yourself trackside assisting and helping out with these race meetings, because we can't ever have enough officials, so we highly encourage you to head to the AASA website and find out more information about becoming an official. The battle rages on track. Here we have the number 86 of Carl Nielsen. He's one of the front runners in the championship this year. We've got quite the battle with Mernjavac just behind him.
Okay, and they're all nose to tail everywhere. Well, we've got the two guys out in front, Musgrave and Webster, though. They have started to pull a bit of quite a gap over third spot, being Nelson. So what will happen here, we don't know. Only 7 laps will tell.
Absolutely. 8 laps has been the duration of each Excel race so far this weekend. David Musgrave, championship leader, coming into this round. He had 1,516 points, 1,516 points to his name coming into the weekend, and he's certainly done a superb job. He's been very consistently well and truly within the top 3, currently leading the race at the moment. And Carl Nielsen doing a brilliant job defending from Mernjavac, as you can see, the number 92 Jackpot Racing entry having a good look. Just behind there, though, you can see Glenn McKenzie, the Equipment Link Australia Excel, the number 85, looming there in the background. And we see Seymour in the number 90 is a lot closer than we saw in the last time as well. So the pace has taken a step up. They are a lot quicker. The racing's a lot closer at the head of the field, but Musgrave and Webster are doing a brilliant job to stretch their legs. It's about 2 seconds between themselves and position 3.
Yeah, as they come on to the extension here at Winton Motor Raceway, very close there between cars 86 and, can't quite pick
92.
it up on our screen, 92, there we go.
Yeah, Carl Nielsen is slowly making steady steps forward, but he has featured at the head of the field for most of today. This is the 3rd race for Masters, so they've been quite busy so far this weekend. And here comes the train, here comes the conga line. A little bit of slipstreaming comes into effect. Relatively short straight around Winton Motor Raceway, but this track beautifully suited to the Hyundai Excel. Oh, running wide.
Managed to get away with it.
Milburn. Milburn hangs it out sideways, coming over the rough grip strip on the left-hand side. Phil, I don't know if you've run a car over the Vallelunga curbing, or indeed that massive curb that you see on the left-hand side coming out of turn 2, but it would shake the glasses off your face.
Yeah, I've run over some of that sort of curbing elsewhere, not on that corner. It is not the corner to getting out over the curbs. That concrete wall has bit many a car over the time, but biting back at the front, these two guys, Musgrave and Webster, they are hammer and tong. There's not a thing between them really. They're just trying to work one another over and see who can come out on top. At the moment it's Musgrave over Webster. Musgrave with the fastest lap time of 1:43.85 on the last time around.
This is good hard racing, isn't it, Phil? Like Musgrave, the number 34, controlling the pace at the moment, but he's having to drive defensively despite the fact he's ever so slightly quicker. But you dare suggest Daniel Webster has got a slight pace advantage up his sleeve, but he can't find a way through. Getting a good exit through turn 11, but it's all about the run here, coming onto the main straight through turn 12. You want to get the wheel as straight as possible, as soon as possible in these front-wheel drive cars to maximise your forward momentum. They're drawing side by side as they come in towards turn 1.
Has he got the run?
Here's
Makes
Webster,
the dive.
deep under brakes, and he gets it done. And you can hear the cheers in the background, so obviously the team and the fans indeed are watching on as Webster takes that lead away. That
was a really brave dive. You had to hand it to both of those drivers. Great respect between the two guys as they came down into that corner. Either one of them could have taken the other out quite easily by making a bit of a mistake on that corner.
Superb racing, and indeed, as you say, Phil, it's the respect and the track real estate that they've afforded each other to treat us to this wonderful battle, where Musgrave now attempting to fight back. Deep under brakes coming into turn 7. Meanwhile, this is the battle for position 3. So Carl Nielsen is at the head of this train from Mergevac and Glenn McKenzie. And as we can see on the timing screen, McKenzie is actually the fastest car on the track at the moment with a 1:43.6. So the car in position 5 is outpacing the car in position 1. So as the track evolves throughout today, the car of McKenzie is coming to life. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, the gap is still exactly the same. So Musgrave, he hazard a guess, is not done. He's going to try and fight back and get his way back through into the lead.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with second spot. He'll be fighting his way back as best he can. But further back in the field, we've got a little bit more of a tussle here between those three cars. 86, 92, and I think it was 85.
It was indeed the 85 machine of McKenzie.
My eyes haven't failed me yet.
Seymour there flashing by the screen there. Here comes the number 42 of Jeff's as well, followed by Narkwitz as they come onto the main straight. Here is Sarah, the 994. We've seen a lot of this car so far this weekend. Currently in position 8, and he is looming for a challenge on Seymour in that silver number 90 XL. He's got a good run as they come up to turn 3. He's going to have a dig here. No, not quite. He thought about it.
I think he was closing the line from the guy behind. He's being attacked from behind whilst he wants to attack in front. He's got to try and keep himself covered from behind.
It's a tricky prospect as well, as you got to look where you're going. That's probably the most important part of racing a car. But you also have to look at what's coming at you from behind. And so the car of Sarah there, he's got that task right now. He's trying to find a way up the inside of Seymour, but equally, he doesn't want to open up the door or invite the car of Veneer just behind to sneak up the inside. That's number 44, BMD sponsored XL. Can't quite get around this time. Here's McKenzie once again having a quick look, just a little bit of clean air into the front of that Hyundai XL. This is still the battle for position 3. And the 86 Carl Nielsen leading the train from Mergevac. He's coming under fire now from McKenzie.
Yeah.
It's a battle of brakes. Who can brake the deepest? It looks like Mergevac slightly compromised, but he's going to slam that door shut. So he's done extremely well there to defend from McKenzie.
That was an interesting little bit of track work to keep an eye on, because that could have all come undone big time. as they come down into turn 1. Hook it to the left. There's not going to be any challenges in that corner, but they're all trying to make a little bit of gain on gap so that they can make a challenge down in here into turn 3. Not close enough this time around. What can I do at 4? Come out of 3. Penalty on down there. Jumps into turn 4. Still not close enough. Follow the leader with these 3 guys at the moment. Heading around the sweeper.
Never-ending left-hander at Winton Motor Raceway. And just as you think it's about to end, bang, a right-hander.
Yeah.
And then you've got to stomp on the brakes as well shortly after that for the even tighter right-hander following the kink at turn 7. There around the old gum tree, we've referenced this tree several times throughout this weekend. And obviously it's offering crucial shade to the hard-working officials on the inside of the track there. Big hats off to the officials for all their tireless efforts this weekend, making sure that motorsport keeps going as safely as it does, keeping everyone nice and safe and reacting to all of the directions from race control, but as well as what's happening in front of them as well. Feeding information. They literally are the eyes and ears for race control, so they'll feed information back via the radios and let race control know exactly what's going on. And
from time to time, if there's indiscretions noted out on track, they'll be writing some notes that they'll go back to race control for a spanking session for the drivers that are making errors out on track. Hopefully there's none of that going on today.
No, not too much of the Masters. They've been very, very well behaved this weekend, as we do expect. With all Excel racing, it's been sensational so far this weekend. This is the battle on screen right now, the 109 of Outram. He's leading Shoya and Kennedy in the 35 and 159 XL respectively. They are battling it out for position 16, and we've said it several times, but no matter where you look in Hyundai XL Racing, there is a battle to behold. The 109 keeping it nice together. Oh no, that's Bergerac. He's gone off at turn 1. Now, has he had a mechanical issue that's forced that car off, or has he just sped off and he's currently in the process of trying to recover it? Either way, he's dropped out of position 4, and it doesn't look like he's going to continue in this race. So Bergerac,
he's decided to park it, so yeah, I'm not too sure what's happened with the car there. Did he under-fuel it?
He's parked up, and we can't quite figure out exactly what has happened with that car, unfortunately. So battle at the front rages on. There is 2 or 1.5 laps remaining in this race. The car in front is the number 47 of Daniel Webster. He's the fastest man on track, as Phil is pointing out on the timing screen, on 1 minute 42.8. 4/10 of a second ahead of Musgrave. What does that mean? It's about 4 Hyundai XL car lengths. That's what it means in realistic terms.
Close down to 1, which is, expands out to 1.2.
And the brakes and more supported car. That's exactly what he'll be wanting. He'll be wanting brakes plus a little bit more. So when he's in that opportunity, he can eke ahead and try and outbrake his fellow combatant. This is the start of the final lap of the support cards for this weekend.
Yep.
Hyundai Excel Masters on track right now, putting on a beautiful display of racecraft and respect as they come past the commentary booth once again. Coming into turn 3, 47, keeping it nice and controlled. He has defended very well after that beautiful manoeuvre up the inside going into turn 1 just a few laps ago after losing the lead of the race off the start. But Musgrave is trying everything within his arsenal to try and get back through in that number 34 Hyundai XL. Carl Nielsen still holding his own in position 3 at the moment. Ooh, a little bit sideways there for the 34. Musgrave still pressing on.
They're doing a great job just watching these guys floating these cars into the corner. Don't try and be too aggressive on the car. Get it through as quick as you can and float it in. Pop the inside rear wheel in the air if you must, but don't get the car out of shape. And that will get you around the corner as quickly as possible. They make their way now up the, I've lost track of where they are. They're on the back straight into that tight left-hander onto the extension here at Winton Motor Raceway. That'll be closed off when the trucks come out, and away they go down the final part of this tour for this event.
Sounded like he was on the rev limiter there as well. So running out of just a little bit of puff, but obviously that was a decision by the driver to do that. Just one more turn. Here comes Daniel Webster, the number 47. He's on his way to take out race 4 of the Victorian Excel Series Masters. A beautiful job there from Webster. Crosses the line ahead of Musgrave by just 0.2 of a second. Here comes P3 and P4. Indeed, Carl Nielsen across the line there to take the final step of the podium, with Glenn McKenzie up to position 4 as well. That was a beautiful recovery drive there from McKenzie, and he was the fastest man on track at certain points in that race. Wayne Milburn home in position 5 as well. That's a great recovery after starting a little bit lower down the order in the race previous to this one. Sarah in position 6, Veneer in 7th position, Seymour in the number 90, doing a brilliant job in the silver entry, coming home in 8th position, with Simpson and Barton rounding out the top 10. And that was 8 highly energised Hyundai Excel races for round 3 of the Victorian Motor Racing Championships, Phil.
And a couple of reasonably energised commentators, I might think.
Yeah, it helps when you've got some fizzy drink in,
That's right. That's
fizzy
all
soft drinks going on here. So.
All this sugar in the diet does wonders.
Absolutely. Big thank you, Phil. Thank you so
Carl.
much. Coming down from Wangaratta, joining us with
Such
your
a long
presence.
trip.
And he's rolled in a BMW of all cars today.